I'm sorry, nice to meet you. Yeah. Hi, I'm Wolf. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Wolf. Thank you. Eddie, you need me on these things? Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the board meeting. We are just waiting for a few board members to arrive. They're looking for parking right now. So you can imagine the traffic is rough on Monday. So we'll just start in a few minutes. Thank you for your patience.
How are you? I'm Jamie Bauer. Oh, girl, I'm about to take you. Oh, let me get your boy. Somebody. shred. I was gonna shred, cake, you know, once you start, you can't stop. Yes, I was shredding stuff.
That sounded.
And I have my grandbaby helping me too at the same time, so she can just. This is.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:09. Welcome everyone to Memphis Baptist Charter School for the Board of Directors. Our first item is roll call. Keyshawn Christopher, present.
Steve Davis, present.
Lieutenant Morales present.
And Sheila DeLaguste is absent. Okay, I'll begin with a statement that we read when there's a full house so that we all know our conduct and engagement practice. Good evening, my name is Keyshawn Christopher, and I serve as the president of America's Finest Charter School Board of Directors. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. We are glad you're here and appreciate your investment in our school community. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to go over with you our public comment guidelines so that tonight's meeting can be productive and respectful for everyone in attendance. Public comment guidelines. We welcome and value community participation. Public comment is an important part of our democratic process, and your voice matters here. That said, we ask that all speakers honor the following standards so that we can maintain an environment that is civil, focused, and fair to everyone present. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. A timer will begin when you step to the podium. When your time is up, you will be asked to conclude your remarks. Use of names. To protect the privacy and dignity of all individuals, we ask that speakers refrain from using the names of students, staff, or any other private individuals during public comment. Please speak to issues and concerns in general terms, not to specific persons. Professionalism. Please remain professional and respectful in your tone and language. Personal attacks, defamatory statements, threats, or harassing remarks directed at any individual will not be permitted. Please direct your comments to the board as a whole, not to any single person in the room. Focus. Use your time to share your perspective on matters relevant to the school and our community. The board may not respond directly during public comment, but our input is heard and considered. Code of conduct and enforcement. These are not suggestions. These are the standards we uphold in every meeting, and they apply equally to all who choose to participate. If a speaker does not follow the guidelines, I will issue a reminder. If the behavior continues, the speaker will be asked to conclude their remarks and return to their seat. In cases where conduct becomes disruptive or threatening, the individual may be asked to leave the meeting. The board reserves the right to recess the meeting if conduct prevents us from conducting school business. I'll read that again. The board reserves the right to recess the meeting if conduct prevents us from conducting school business. We take these measures not to silence anyone, but to ensure that every person in this room can participate in a safe and respectful setting. We thank you in advance for your cooperation and your commitment to this community. Your presence here reflects the strength of AFCS, and we look forward to a productive meeting together. With that said, let's move on to our agenda. Great. Next item is our agenda items. I make a motion to approve our agenda items. Can I have a second?
Approve the agenda.
Thank you. All in favor? Keyshawn Christopher, aye. Item C, 1, executive report, including but not limited to current enrollment, school events, recruitment efforts, new building updates.
Then good evening, everybody. It's good to see everybody here, staff members, families, community. Thank you all for being here. Again, I want to walk you through what the team has been doing across instruction, community building, marketing and outreach, enrollment and attendance, supporting for our high school students through the transition closure, and the partnerships we've been building on behalf of AFCS. There's a lot to share, and most of it is good news. So under instructional practice, that has been the heart of the operation of the school. And the work this year has been guided closely by our instructional leadership team. Our school-wide focus has been relationship, rigor, and relevance. And that focus is showing up in classrooms every day. Teachers are leaning into small group instructions, common formative assessments, and grade level collaboration. The ELA curriculum, the Wonders, is in full implementation, supported by Lexia, Core 5, and Power Up for differentiated reading. Math instruction is paired with iReady diagnostic and growth monitoring data. For English language learners, teachers are using Elevation to plan designated and integrated ELD across all content areas. We are doing the kind of teaching where the data drives the decisions, not the schedule. In terms of intervention and multi-tiered system of support, MTSS, our instructional leadership team have been building a more coherent MTSS framework all year. We have a clear Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 model in place, with targeted small group instruction, intervention blocks, and referral process that connects general education, special ed, 504, SSTs, IEP team, and the PBIS system, which stands for Positive Behavior Intervention Support Services. Our instructional leadership team just attended the Improvement Con and connected with leaders from the San Diego County Office of Education and Orange County Department of Education, who specialize in MTSS Scale Up. They have invited Jenny Peavy from SDCOE to come to AFCS next school year to lead the MTSS training for our staff. We have also been invited to join San Diego County Education's emerging charter school network as part of our design team. This is a big deal, folks. This is meaningful seat at the table for our school, a recognition for our school. This is the kind of work that strengthens our systems and puts AFCS in the room with other strong school leaders across the county. Professional development has been another key component of a successful school. Our calendar this year has been intentional and built from our school priorities, not from a vendor catalog. The team has run weekly Wednesday PD sessions throughout this year that have included in August, school launch, AFC mission and vision, baseline data review, MTSS priorities, PBIS rollout, and Tier 1 school-wide systems. In September, 504 SST and IEP trainings, PBIS, MTSS behavior supports, assessment windows, and school-wide expectations for our students. October, iReady data analysis and small group planning. Hapara and SmartPass EdTech integration, Elevation, ELL data drive, Lexia Core 5, and Power Up training with the Lexia representative. November and December, literacy, small group target instruction, teacher evaluation training, Elevation, ELD instructional planning. We also created the, again, officially the instructional leadership team, the student council, care team, school site council, Sunshine Committee, and Student Success Coordination. January and February, Wonders curriculum training with the Wonders representative, mid-year data dive, ELD strategies across content areas. March and April, grade level data dives on iReady and Lexia, small group planning, intervention adjustments, data-driven planning. May and June, instructional reflection on student growth and impact across site collaboration and end of the year operation and preview of 26-27 initiative. This is the engine behind our instruction. Every Wednesday, the teachers are getting better at their craft, and that is exactly what we want as we move along in 26-27. As I mentioned before, as I came into the executive directorship as an analysis of the school, instruction has to be the core component of the success and measuring of this school. And kids first is what I have said, and we continue to live out that, that focus that we talked about in the beginning. So we've got some great information on the assessment improvement. As you know, when we look at the data, we are closing the year strong on assessments. State testing makeups are happening this week, and the iReady spring assessments window opened on May 20th and runs through June 5th. The team has worked with teachers and make sure students who will be out in June get their iReady completed before they leave, so we can capture every student's growth data. The diagnostic results from this window will set our starting point for next year and shape our intervention groupings from day one. On the design side, the team is moving toward a stronger data culture. Mid-year data dives, great band data conversations, and teacher-led action steps coming directly out of iReady, Lexia, and elevation reports. The teacher survey that leadership sent earlier this month gave us an honest feedback about what is working and what is needed to adjust. And that input is shaping our professional development plan for 26-27. I want to talk a little bit about, and again, we will see the data, the results soon, but we are certain the results of ELA and math for CAS will have a significant gain. We'll see that on the state data very soon. Community building. The school is only strong as the relationships inside it. We have continued our director newsletter, Parent Square two-way communications, ELAC and DLAC meetings, and our open door policy with multilingual supports for English, Spanish, and other home languages. Our local indicator survey results show families rating us at the highest level for helping them understand and exercise their rights and for providing opportunities to give input on policies and programs. We are not satisfied though. We are continuing to push parent workshops, cultural responsiveness training for staff, and more flexible meeting times based on what families told us on our LCAP engagement. Marketing, outreach, and community promotion to promote our school. We have a beautiful campus that's supposed to be finished very soon, and we are inviting all interested members to come to our school and experience this fantastic school and the amazing opportunities that students have at this place. Very busy stretch for getting AFC in front of San Diego family, and the results are encouraging. KPBS, Be My Neighbor event at SDSU. We participated alongside KPBS and the San Diego State University community, and many interested families signed up at our table to tour the AFCS PK-8 campus. The momentum from this event has been strong, and the tours are already being scheduled. KPBS radio spot. AFCS have been featured on KPBS radio spot, promoting our open enrollment across San Diego County. Hearing our school's name on the radio is a milestone for our visibility and has driven new inquiries. And we've attended many other community events at the local park here in City Heights, as well as Liberty Station. And most recently, we went to an event at Diamond Palace restaurant in City Heights, right in front of Horace Mann Middle. We attended the Chinese School of San Diego's 100-year celebration to promote AFCS to a community that has been part of San Diego for a century. It was an honor to be in that room, and we made strong connections with many families, many diverse families from City Heights in the neighborhood and our community leaders. Visits from civic and education leaders. We had the pleasure of hosting San Diego Unified School District Board of Trustees, Dr. Sharon Whitehurst Payne, who came to AFCS to show her support. Former SDUSB board member, Dr. Mike McQuarrie, also visited and spoke with hope and enthusiasm about the future of AFCS as we move into the 26-27 school year with our TK-8 program. These visits matter, folks. They send a signal to our community that AFCS is supported, respected, and built to last. So upcoming June outreach, we have several events lined up in June, including the Urban Life event with an after-school organization in City Heights, with more to come. We'll be hosting many meet and greets with families from all over San Diego to see if they would be interested in joining our school. We are not slowing down, folks. We are continuing to move. Civic and legislative advocacy. I have been actively connecting with civic leaders who advocate for AFCS, and for the families that we serve, our board as well, in collaboration. This year, we have met with Assemblymember Dr. Darshana Patel, Chair of the Educational Committee, Assemblymember Lachey Sharp Collins, Cody Patterson, SBUSD Board of Trustees, San Diego City Council Member Kent Lee, District Attorney Summer Stephan. These conversations has been about who we serve, what we need to keep serving our community well, and how AFCS fits into our broader vision for public education in San Diego. Building these relationships now sets up the advocate effectively whenever a charter school policy, funding, or facilities decisions come up. Now I want to speak regarding the material revision and the SBUSD board. I attended the San Diego Unified School District Board meeting recently, specifically last week, to represent AFCS for the material revision to our charter to officially become a K-8 program. The board unanimously approved the revision, and the SBUSD Charter Office publicly commented that AFCS was collaborative throughout the entire process. That recognition matters because it speaks to how our team has handled a hard transition with professionalism and transparency. I made a public comment on behalf of AFCS that night. I shared that while closing our high school program is a sad moment, we have immense hope for our current and outgoing high school students who have all been supported with care and with fidelity through their transition plan. I also shared that even as we close the high school, we are enthusiastic and committed to maintaining a strong TK-8 program on our new campus. I wanted to give you an update on supporting our high school students through this closure. Our high school counselor has been the central point of contact for every high school student and family through these transitions. As I mentioned before, we had this SBUSD enrollment and options, and many charter schools around the community to support our students and what would be their best fit. Meeting with all 48 students, continuing to reach out on a daily basis to parents on how we can support with the transition. As I said before, the counselor has been meeting one-on-one with students, helping them identify receiving school, walking families through enrollment paperwork, transferring transcripts, and making sure no students fall through the cracks. Equally important, we have been checking in on the social and emotional side of this transition because leaving a school community is hard. We understand that, and our students deserve to feel supported all the way through. We have held family meetings, as I said before, sent regular parent square updates, and made staff available for questions in multiple languages. Every student who will walk out of our high school doors is leaving with a plan, with the knowledge that their AFCS family is rooting for them. Enrollment and attendance. Right now, current enrollment is at 324. We are hoping that our ADA, as we look at 26, 27, we're hoping to reach the ADA at 95% with great planning and strategic efforts to raise average daily attendance. We are hoping to hit 350 students as a realistic approach. Again, for making sure that our budget is in the right place. And again, with all the promoting and advocacy effort out there to recruit students will be a game changer for our school. So in closing, this has been a year of hard decisions and hard work. And my first year as an executive director has been an eye-opening experience of the needs of what our students are in reality at this school. And it is an urgent matter, and we had to do a lot of triaging. What is the most important, the priority for our students? And it comes back to this, folks. It comes back to instructional practices and elevation of ELA and math scores. They need to read, they need to write, they need to do math effectively and meeting the standards and above standards. We need to move that dashboard from over here to over here. And that is our number one focus right now. So we ask everybody, agree or disagree. Let's not have distractions get in the way of our students. That's always been my focus in leadership at this school, because I felt the first time walking in here, the hopes that I have for these kids, that the potential we have at the school. The students deserve it. It's been too long that they've been forgotten. We need to put all the distractions aside and put instructional focus for our students. That is true sign of equity for our students. So I really feel that our school is going to have an impact on thousands of new families here as we move along. We have built relationships with county, district, and state leaders that will serve our students for years. They're looking at us carefully with hope and enthusiasm. We have transitioned our high school students with care, and we are walking into 26-27 as focused, energized TK-8 school. Thank you for your partnership and your continued belief in this work. And I will hand the mic over to our board president.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I really appreciate your report. And we'll move on to our next item. D, public comment. I've already read the guidelines for public comment. I'm going to be very careful to try not to skip anyone. And I have a sheet of paper here to help me to follow along. Okay. Rico Morales.
Hello.
Wait. There. I need it.
Should be pretty fast. Well, good evening, board members. I'm speaking today pursuant to my rights under the Brown Act, including Governance Code Section 54954.3, which regards the public the right to address this board on matters within its jurisdiction. I want to formally express serious concerns regarding the conduct and governance practices occurring within this organization. First, concerns have been raised that the board has limited and attempted to restrict lawful public participation during board meetings, including the alleged exclusion and omission of individuals who properly signed up to speak during public comment. The Brown Act exists to ensure transparency, accountability, and meaningful public participation. Public comment is not a privilege granted only to individuals who agree with leadership. It is a protected legal right. Criticisms of policies, leaderships, procedures, and organizational decisions is expressly protected under California law and does not constitute disruption merely because it may be uncomfortable or critical. I respectfully request that all public comment procedures be applied equally, fairly, and consistent to every speaker without viewpoint discrimination, selective enforcement, intimidation, or retaliation. Second, allegations have also been raised that this board has engaged in conduct perceived as harassing, intimidating, and hostile towards staff members. These concerns are serious because any environment that discourages employees or members of the public from speaking openly undermines transparency, accountability, and public trust. No employee or community member should fear retaliation, intimidation, or harassment for raising concerns regarding governance or organizational operations. Third, I formally request that the board place on a future agenda an item to review and discuss the executive director's employment contract in light of the closure of the high school and the resulting impact on organizational structure, operational needs, executive duties, and contractual obligations. The closure of the high school materially changed the organization's operations and administrative structures. Because of these significant changes, there is substantial public interest in determining whether the executive director's current compensation, responsibilities, and contractual terms remain aligned with the organization's present state. Under the Brown Act, closed session authority relating to public employee performance, evaluation and employment matter. The board has both the legal authority and fiduciary responsibility to review executive leadership performance and contractual alignment when major organizational changes occur. I therefore respectfully request preservation of all meeting records and speaker sign-up materials, equal enforcement of public participation rules, investigation into allegations of intimidation and retaliation, and placement of an executive director contract review and performance evaluation on a future agenda. Furthermore, she's going to pass you guys each folder. This right here is the California Public Records Act request, a formal board complaint, a formal board act violation letter, and a petition for injunctive declaratory relief for violation of the Brown Act, which will be filed with the San Diego Superior
Thank
Court
you.
tomorrow.
Please go back to your seat. Thank you. And I'm gonna let everyone know you cannot walk up to board members. You cannot do that. That is a violation. We asked you already. This is your reminder. We've asked you already not to cross the podium. That's your podium right there. You cannot come up to us and give us anything. If you need to give us anything.
You didn't say that.
I did say that in the, I did say
Well,
that.
then that's my
Okay, I'll
misunderstanding.
reread.
You guys will be served
I'll
as
reread.
well. This will
Thank
be
you.
filed tomorrow in the San Diego Superior Court.
Okay, we're moving on. Next person, Francine Maxwell. Francine Maxwell.
Where's the clock? Yeah, the clock should be up there. The clock is there.
No, when somebody's on Zoom, they need to know that I have my whole 3 minutes.
Oh, is somebody on Zoom?
So that's the way that a Brown Act meeting normally goes. When you have a Zoom, you have a
Are
hybrid
you
meeting.
starting, Ms. Maxwell?
Francine Maxwell, Southeastern San Diego resident. I'm asking the board to ask for proof. Everything that your executive director just said about PBIS, parents don't understand that, but you didn't ask for no proof. And a lot of that was not done. I've talked to staff here. And so because you guys have decided to turn your blind eye, I'm just so concerned with our children and with our families. This school has always needed a strong math and reading. To come here and drop Dr. Sharon Whitehurst Payne's name, she's the board trustee, everybody can use her name. I received your budget from our state representative, Dr. Lachey Collins. So if you want a name drop, we can play tit for tat all day. I pulled your budget, 2 budgets in a row, $55,000 I cannot find. So you were supposed to have that for soccer, clothing, uniforms. Where's the $55,000? So the board should be asking for that. I'm also concerned with Eureka, the fact that I have a lot of EL students in my family, in this community, and they can't speak English. So you're going to try to do Korean, Vietnamese. Have you pulled everybody's credentials? I'm asking the board, are you too trusting? Have you not had him pull everybody's credentials? Because I went again to my state representative and made sure. I went to my congressman and I said, is it time to bring summer in and let's go after another charter school? Each board member, you have a fiduciary responsibility for my tax dollars. And since I was just with Summer Stephan, the most powerful woman in the region, she said it is nothing for her and our community prosecutor to look at this school. So parents, neighbors, go to Summer Stephan's website, mandated reporting, your finances are important, and to bring your friends from Poway, I mean, that's just deplorable to stack the board.
Thank you.
Number 3, Esther. I don't want to see your name, last name wrong.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I have it here.
I will start your time in just a moment.
Oh, I give me a minute, please. Good afternoon, board members. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
No.
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
you can.
Good afternoon, board members.
I'm Dr. Esther Omabey, and as consistent with my practice, my full plan everywhere I've been is to introduce myself to the board. I have been at the high school for about 3 months now. I think I might be saying that. And apart from that, the rest of you don't know me, so I am here to introduce myself. I am an avid educator. I have a long history of school reform, and I enjoy working with children. I came right on the heels of the high school closing, so I've been managing the emotions and all the temperature over at the high school. I also want you to know that I am grateful to Mr. Park, who came over, because I started out as a substitute teacher, and then Mr. Park came and asked that I support the high school, because I do have high school experience. I have a lot of high school experience. I also have a TK experience as well, TKE experience. So my ask is, I see that the school is in the middle of reform and transformation, and my desire is to continue to work avidly with the school to improve student academic achievement. I started off by looking at their CASP scores, and ELA and math is not where it should be, it's all red. I don't know that introducing foreign language will take care of that. I think that what we need to do is go back to the basics and teach our students what they really need to know. Otherwise, they will not and will never have a place at the table. It's getting to be a very cold, cruel world, and we do need to make sure that our kids do have a voice. So my other concern also is that as we engage in this transition, we do need to look at the curriculum. When I came here and took the job as a sub, the first question I asked was about Eureka, because we used Eureka in Arizona, and I changed it in a heartbeat. I was the chief academic officer there for TK8. And the reason we changed it is exactly what Mr. Maxwell said. It is very language heavy. It's a great program, but you've got to have the language. And until we have very solid English language foundations for our students, they're going to struggle. The other thing I also want to say is that most of our kids are bilingual as is. So I think that our focus should be on the ELA and math, as opposed to adding other languages to their cachet. I do think that when they have a very solid foundation in ELA and math, then other languages will come into play as is necessary. When I was a principal at Man Middle School, we introduced Arabic, French, and Mandarin. But that was after our kids were solid in ELA. Not that we didn't have some second language learners, we had them, but they were all moving and we were classifying them quickly. So I have also helped transform Jackson Elementary. It was the lowest performing school way back when, but then it became a blue ribbon school in 5 years. That's a lot of hard work. So school transformation is really my strength. And I'm sure there are people in this community or in this audience that can attest to that.
Time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sure.
Right, being very careful here, don't want to miss anyone. Number 4, Alan Becker. 4, Alan Becker.
Good afternoon. Let me introduce myself. My name is Alan Becker. This is my 5th year teaching here at AFCS, and I am also served as a mentor teacher to 2 of our staff members in the induction program. I just want to briefly talk about my experience this year here at AFCS and some of the positive interventions that have been put in place this year. First, I want to mention that I had a very challenging group of students this year. Many of my students have social and emotional issues that sometimes interfere with student learning. Regardless, I love every single one of my students. I will state that I've been very supported by my administrator this school year. Whenever a behavioral issue occurred, she was there to offer support and follow through. Also, she provided me with classroom aides to help support me and my students, and I'm extremely grateful to have these aides in my classroom. I find my administrator to be hardworking and compassionate about serving our community. For example, she almost always comes by daily to my classroom each morning and checks in on myself and my students. She is someone that goes above and beyond in serving TK through 6th grade students here at AFCS. She is also someone who I find very approachable when I need to talk to her. Furthermore, there are many positive interventions that have been put in place this year that better support student behavior and learning. For example, we are encouraged to follow PBIS expectations with students daily in our classroom, and we review these expectations during our morning assembly. There are posters placed throughout the hallways reminding students of their behavioral expectations throughout the day. Also, we incorporated a new IMSE phonics program that has been introduced this year in our younger grades. From working with kinder and first grade students through the induction program, I have personally seen impressive results with this program. Finally, the fact that we are getting a new math curriculum this year is fantastic news. I have openly complained about the previous math curriculum year after year. It is outdated and it's not engaging to students. On a final note, I want the board to remember that next year the middle school will be here on campus. As a veteran teacher here at AFCS, I remember the challenges of sharing the campus with middle school students. I hope that there will be additional support on campus next year. If we want to have a successful year next year, we are going to need a vice principal and a counselor here on this campus. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, be very cautious of not to miss anyone. Number 5, Alden Hobbs.
Hi everyone, my name is Alden Hobbs. This is my second year teaching first grade here at AFCS. With the school year coming to a close, I wanted to make myself known to the board and to the community and to share some of my thoughts on how things are going at our school. First, I want to highlight some amazing positive changes that have taken place this year. And I want to say that as a teacher, I have felt such an increase in our positivity of our school culture and the student experiences since I began in 2024. A few things I want to highlight are the curriculum changes, including the adoption of IMSE for phonics instruction. I have seen such amazing changes in my students only in the few months we have adopted it. So I'm excited to see more as we continue to use it. And then I am also looking forward to adopting a stronger math curriculum for next year. I have seen a significant increase in our student behaviors under our elementary director's leadership, as well as the implementation of PBIS. With these changes, I have felt stronger as a team. Teachers, office staff, and paraeducators, they seem to be more on the same page this year compared to last year. I feel like I have developed some strong professional relationships this year, as well as grown as a professional. And my hope is to see the same team return next year. And I know that the salary schedule is on the agenda today, and I wanted to speak on that for a minute. I believe that our school culture will only continue to grow if we see an increase in the salary schedule. I know many teachers are looking for different schools often, no matter where they are, to better meet their financial needs. And I think that if we have more competitive pay, then it can help us retain the qualified teachers that we have. I also believe that the familiarity and stability of returning teachers can improve student comfort, their social and emotional wellness, and of course their academic success. Overall, I believe that increasing our salary schedule can improve morale and professional sustainability, and also show that the board values the people who directly shape student outcomes every day. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hobbs. Next, person number 6, Magali Closewell.
Hello, my name is Magali Kulshert. I'm a founder teacher of the school. This year, I'm the director of facilities and operations. I want to start with a Japanese proverb. The reputation of 1,000 years may be determined by the conduct of 1 hour or one decision. Okay, what does this mean? A company, a business, a school can spend a very long time building trust, a good name, but one bad choice can quickly ruin everything. Keep that in mind, please. Today, I'm asking everybody to look within themselves and to please honor all those hours you have poured into your education, your reputation, your name. And I want to focus on 3 areas, okay? I was here, for the last 3 years, I've been in every single board meeting. We let go of the back office and we create a back office, okay? The back office states that accurate financials are important, but that is just not as important is the ability to illustrate how and why those numbers come to be. The company also emphasizes school knowledge of their financials, not just providing numbers on a page, which I agree with. So based on those principles, Mr. Corey, and your stated expertise, we respectfully, as a community, ask you to assist the school by providing full transparency and clear expectations regarding these financial records.
Magali, please don't say
Since
people's
these
names.
payments, can you add to my time, please?
You're saying people's names.
Okay, I will not use, can you
that.
add to my time? I said yes, could you add to my time, please? Okay. Okay, so Mr. C, let me go back. Mr. C, we respectfully ask that you assist the school providing full transparency and clear explanations regarding these financial records. Since these payments involve public funding, we also like to understand why the names of individuals or companies on these checks are being blocked out. Usually people block out when you're a survivor. So I'm just wondering. Since these payments involve public funding, we would also like to understand why these names of individuals or companies on the checks are being blocked out. Public funds should remain open and transparent for the public review, especially when your organization's mission emphasizes clarity, understanding, and going beyond the spreadsheets and financial statements. My second focus is
Right, time. And that is with extra time.
That is not 3 minutes. Give her a minute of my time.
Who's speaking? I need to let the next person go though, so you're down here, so that's your choice. That's your choice. Okay, next person, thank you very much. Number 7, Santana Chavez. Santana Chavez. You're not allowed to talk to the board.
We didn't understand what you said.
Which I mentioned that we're moving on. You had 3 minutes, 23 seconds. Santana Chavez, please come up to the podium.
Good evening to all. I'm going to start by saying I'm Santana Chavez. I am a second-year teacher here at AFCS, and I teach kindergarten, so I'm a lot used to talking to smaller people, so I'm sorry. Please give me some grace. I want to take a few minutes to reflect on this school year and the positive direction that I see us moving in, especially being here last year. First, I want to recognize the increased support that we felt this year from our director. Her presence, communication, organization have all created a stronger sense of consistency throughout our school. The expectations are much clearer, systems are more organized, and staff members feel more supported in their day-to-day work. I want to give a major highlight to the success we've seen with PBIS. Students are responding positively to clear expectations, encouragement, and recognition for making good choices. Strong teacher-student relationships are at the core to making PBIS work. Compared to last year, there has been noticeable growth in structure and support, and I appreciate the effort that has gone into making those improvements happen. One of my favorite moments this year comes from one of my classes as a kinder teacher during our butterfly life cycle unit. Watching the kids observe caterpillars transform into butterflies is a powerful reminder of why we do this work. The excitement, curiosity, and wonder on their faces captured what education is all about, helping children grow, discover, and become confident learners. As we celebrate progress, I also want to respectfully bring attention to teacher compensation. As a fourth-year teacher with a master's degree in literacy, I unfortunately make less than what I did as my first year teaching without a master's. The reality is difficult and discouraging, especially at a time where teachers are continuing to take on more responsibility and expectations. Competitive and fair salary schedules are important for not only retaining experienced educators, but showing that professional growth, advanced education, and dedication to students is valued. I care so deeply about the school and our students, and I'm grateful for the positive momentum we are seeing. I hope as a team, we can continue building on these improvements while also investing in the teachers who make the work possible every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 8. I'm gonna try to pronounce this correctly. Nani Waldemanian. Is a Nani Waldemanian here? Once, twice, okay. Number 9, Franco Brutus. Going once, twice, Franco Brutus. Okay. Number 10, Serahi Lagata. Serahi Lagata.
These people are there.
No, no one's on Zoom. Or. Okay. All right, going once, twice. 11, Juan Diaz. No Juan Diaz. Number 12, Susana Martingale. Oh, I'm sorry, no, that's not yet, that's closed session. So I need to skip over closed session speakers and move on to. Okay, Jose Cruz. Jose Cruz.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jose Cruz. I teach 7th and 8th grade math and English. I joined this school because of the street's diversity and I've been dedicated to our students. However, I'm standing before you tonight to address a series of arbitrary, contradictory, and retaliatory administrative actions regarding my employment. On March 12th, I received a dismissal letter from the CEO stating my termination was due to closure of the medical program. However, I'm exclusively a medical educator. I've never been contracted for or assigned to the high school. It says so in my contract and it says so on my daily assignment. Aries. Furthermore, the school is currently advertising vacancies for my exact medical position for next year. Terminating an exemplary teacher in good standing while simultaneously hiring for the same role suggests that the stated reasons for my dismissal is entirely pretextual. To complicate matters, on April 14th, I received a third separation notice, this time citing at-will employment with an entirely different benefits end date. When I asked the CEO if this new letter should precede the first, he stated it was in addition to. How can an employee have two simultaneous reasons for dismissal with two different benefit end dates? When I submitted a formal grievance regarding these contradictions, the CEO responded with immediate retaliation. On April 13th and 14th, he conducted sudden, unannounced classroom visits. Prior to this, the CEO showed zero interest in my classroom performance. He failed to conduct scheduled fall observations, failed to provide a teaching rubric, and ultimately delegated all observation duties to another administrator. His sudden presence immediately following my grievance was clearly punitive, not pedagogical, creating a hostile work environment. This administrative dysfunction directly impacts our students. For example, school recently failed the Springer District Lift God plus English language learners lacked adequate support. I'm qualified language learner, teacher. I could have easily been assigned to teach an ELT unit to prevent this failure. Yet my qualifications were entirely underdeveloped. Finally, our employee handbook and charter bylaws are outdated and fail to provide clear, fair guidelines for due process. Given these discrepancies, the appearance of unlawful termination and the documented retaliation, I'm asking the board for three things: clarity of my employment status, a formal investigation into these leadership positions, and a timely written response. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, next person. This is Cynthia Kobe. Cynthia, are you here? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karobi, and I'm a current employee at AFCS. Yesterday, I submitted a formal letter to the board with 29 governance questions and requested written response within 10 business days, so I will keep everything short. First, I reviewed all public board agendas from February through May 2026 and couldn't find any formal vote reappointing the current executive director as the executive director for the continuing TK-8 program. Every high school employee received a CalBurn termination notice, but the ED did not, even though he was leading the high school program. Since the school changed from TK-12 to TK-8, his role and responsibilities have changed significantly. I asked the board to publicly explain why this position was not formally reapproved through a transparent board vote. Second, the board's legal matters are increasing quickly. Today there are 10, and last month it was 6 lawsuits. I asked the board to explain what is causing this growing level of litigation and if the school's practices are consistent with fair treatment of employees. I'm also asking who is paying for these legal cases. The school receives public fund, taxpayer money designated for children's education. The community has a right to know how much money is being spent on this legal case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, number 17. Family.
Good evening. My name is Ann Lynn. I am a fourth grade teacher. I'll be completing my 9th year at America's Finest Charter School. I'm teaching multiple grade levels. After a great deal of reflection, I made the decision to not return to school next year. This decision was not made very lightly, as I care about my students, their families, I've taught multiple siblings, and the school community. However, I feel that I should be honest about the reasons behind my decision. My primary concern is the lack of adequate support for students with special needs, significant social and emotional needs. I fully understand that students need compassion, patience, and intervention. However, I have repeatedly been expected to manage extreme behaviors, even outside of the classroom at recess and PE, as though they were simply tier 1 classroom behaviors, despite situations involving profanity, racial comments, sexual remarks, physical and verbal aggressions, and major disruptions that negatively impact the learning environment for all students. My concern is not only for staff, but also for the other students in the classroom. They should not be subjected to this type of behavior without meaningful intervention or support. I have great students that have adapted to disruptions when another is having a meltdown by being able to pivot and ignore behaviors, put headphones on, and carry on. But when these situations continue for extended period of time with little administrative support or counselor, we don't have a counselor, it creates an environment that is not conducive to learning and places unrealistic expectations on classroom teachers. It is simply not sustainable for one adult in the classroom and will lead to teacher burnout. I also think it's important to acknowledge the larger issue of staff retention. Losing experienced educators affects school culture, stability, student learning, and staff morale.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn.
Next is Kim Brunetto.
Okay, hi, I'm Kimberly Brunetto, and I should say good afternoon first. And I was one of the founding teachers at AFCS. I'm a credentialed teacher, have my master's degree in education, have an administrative credential, and both mentored and coached educators. I worked at AFCS for 11 years and have been an educator for over 20. I semi-retired approximately 3 years ago and work part-time as an online writing teacher as well as a substitute teacher as time permits. About 2 years ago, I was asked by staff at AFCS if I would be willing to sub there. I agreed to do so. AFCS is like a second home to me. I know many of the staff members and students, so it's fun for me to be a visiting teacher there. Teachers also appreciate that I'm a seasoned and able to handle any class regardless of difficulty to complete the work prepared for the day. Since I started subbing at AFCS, I have had no issues whatsoever. That is until this year when I agreed to sub Monday through Friday mornings during conference week for a kindergarten class due to a teacher sustaining an injury. After I completed the second day of the week, the current acting principal called me aside. She told me that I was not needed the rest of the week. When asked why, it was clear she didn't want to discuss it, as she simply told me again I wasn't needed. This was very confusing to me, so I asked again. She said to join her in her office, where I asked her what had changed. In an extremely unkind and offensive manner, she said, "I don't have to tell you." She made a couple of remarks which helped me to piece together the circumstances later. Her delivery, however, and her attitude and tone were rude, dismissive, and unkind. That is not how you treat another professional, much less a human being. She followed up by telling Gloria from HR that I could forget coming back the rest of the year and could apply next year if I was interested. That was extremely perplexing considering how well I'm regarded at the school. Later, and after some reflection and considering the principal's cryptic remarks, I believed I'd figured out what happened. I was flabbergasted. The situation could easily have been mitigated. However, instead of putting the effort into doing that, she chose not to take that responsibility. Had she done so, she could have reassured a parent and would have put support in place for a student who is known to elope. Instead, her choice was to blame a visiting teacher without investigating the entire situation. That is not what a seasoned leader does because they know the value of human capital. Approaching the situation with curiosity would have been a more mature choice. When I addressed the board through my email, the director told me it was inappropriate for me to share the information with you as the board's job was to oversee his work. As an executive director who makes hiring decisions, it is his responsibility if that decision results in harm. May I say one last thing?
Can you, if you were saying a sentence, can you finish your sentence?
Yeah, let me finish my sentence. I'm familiar with many staff members, and although you won't hear it here tonight, I'm sure, except for maybe one, I have been told that the principal treats many in an unkind way. She speaks to staff and students rudely, and that is not the way you build community. That is the way you tear it apart. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to remind everyone not to use names at all, please. Thank you. Okay. Next person, Gloria. DeLeo. I'm sorry, DeLeo. Gloria DeLeo.
May I ask if, you can take about a minute and a half of my time, or would you say okay to that?
Yes.
About the first 2 minutes and a half, and then I will say mine.
Okay, the second point I wanted to make, I was here when we hired Procopio because the board did not have a lawyer. Procopio says they have a practical legal solutions and address challenging situations. My question to you is, Where's the commitment to minimizing conflict and protecting public educational funds? Before retaining your firm, the school experienced far fewer legal disputes. Why has litigation increased so rapidly since your involvement? How does spending student funding on growing legal fees instead of educational serves the best interest of the children and community? Your oath and your professional duty should be to prevent unnecessary conflicts. And for the board, an African wisdom, a single bracelet does not jingle, meaning people need to each other. Hiding or acting alone can weaken the accountability. I'm asking the board, I urge you, please make informed decisions, avoid conflicts of interest, and follow the law and the school mission. I have never felt so offended. America's finest charter school is not about being rude, cutting people off. We welcome people. We welcome every single person here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Gloria.
Hello, my name is Gloria DeLeo. I'm HR here at AFCS and have been for close to 15 years. I would like to raise a general concern regarding how employee questions, concerns, and complaints are currently being handled. Staff are often directed to the website as a primary source of information. However, the information is not always accurate or up to date, which has led to confusion and inconsistent understanding. I also want to flag a concern regarding the handling of confidential and sensitive information and the need to ensure the governance practices are clear, consistent, and appropriately followed. In addition, members have been excluded from meetings, decisions, correspondence, and contract-related matters that are directly relevant to my responsibilities, which has impacted my ability to perform my role effectively and answer questions for the staff. External legal counsel was sought for advice on these matters, but I have not yet received a response. I respectfully ask the board to review these processes to ensure accurate information, proper handling of confidential material, and appropriate inclusion in relevant communication and decisions. My intent is simply to resolve these process issues so I can carry out my duties properly. Thank you.
Vicky. Tickle? I'm sorry, I couldn't. Words with Tickle. Okay, thank you.
I am a parent here at AFCS. As far as, I don't know if there's a Zoom link for the board meetings. There used to be a public link where everybody can access it for those that can't make it physically. And a recording, I think I brought this up multiple times, that a recording would be good for people to go back to if they can't make the Zoom or the physical meeting. I'm also a parent volunteer at Classroom, so I come to the classroom twice a week to help any students within my child's classroom that are struggling. I have noticed that at least 25% aren't proficient in reading or math, or both. And then when I asked my child, he's like, it was closer to 75% not proficient in what he has seen. And there's, IEP students, which is the special ed students, that the time that I've been there, I haven't really seen support for them. And that's concerning. One student seems to be able to just wander around the school. Just last week, I saw him unsupervised under the stairs outside, right where you can exit the building. So that was concerning. I just hope, everyone can come together as a community. Parents or family members really need to get involved, if they can come, just spend like an hour a week, just to get familiar with your student in class and how they're doing, as well as other students, and being able to help other students, because I think that's really important, to have that, involvement, especially when there's not really behavior assistance in classes that from my experience, I can't speak for anywhere else, but that's just one class with up to 25 to 75% not proficient in math or English. So it's very concerning, because I think everyone has potential. I mean, I see it in all the students. Every single student in that class that I volunteer has potential to succeed. They just need additional guidance and support. And from the time that my child has been there at AFCS, there's always been a behavior assistance in class that's needed, and sometimes an additional assistance. And it's just what this community needs.
Thank you. Great, next person, King David.
Hello, my name is King David, and I'm here to speak on behalf of my brother. My brother is 31 years old now. He graduated from Lincoln High School in 2013. I'll be graduating in a couple of weeks with a 4.1 overall GPA, with 7 college courses already completed. I'm the product of a mom who trained me to complete academically and advocate for me when I needed support. But my brother wasn't so fortunate. The administration at Lincoln at the time did not appreciate my brother having an educator as a mom. She organized parents to be aware of their students' progress. She reached out to the school boards when things weren't right, and she advocated for better conditions for all, including her son. Instead of certain community members and administrators rallying behind her, they threatened her job because they felt like she was causing problems for the selected administrator. Instead of helping her son with the support she requested, he was denied. There was also sabotage to the college he was admitted into. Can you believe these administrators called the college to give disparaging remarks about him and his mother? This hurt my family deeply. In no time, my brother was back at the community and without hope on a school to prison pipeline. If you are a community member or an administrator who has been involved in bullying, intimidation, or harassment, this is improper conduct. We didn't need that at Lincoln, and we don't need it here at America's Finest Charter School. And who am I referring to? If you were at or involved at Lincoln or around that time, you know who you were. Thank you.
That concludes our public comment at this time for the open session public comment. But there are 2 people signed up for closed session public comment, just to be clear. Yes. Okay. Move on. Next item. E, discussion, action items. Resolution 4-2526 and 5-2526. Board member interviews and appointments. Okay, we have received 2 candidate information sheets, and at this time, we will, the board will ask each candidate a question on the candidate information sheet, and you can, even though you may have answered the question, you can elaborate and re-emphasize for the whole community to hear. Okay, we'll start with Darcel Glover. And we'll take questions from the board after, because that's the proper way to do it. We hear the item, Then we give a motion if there's discussion. Okay, all right. Please share, we've all received your information. Please share a little bit about yourself and why you're interested to be on AFCS board.
First of all, thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to apply in the position. In a nutshell, born and raised here in San Diego, Southeast San Diego. Worked basically from beginning of my life with a connection to this community. My grandparents are strong advocates within Southeast San Diego. One's group was actually one of the founding members of Pop Warner here in San Diego at the Lynch Park. And then the other set of grandparents actually lived right across the street. My grandmother worked here when it was Meade Elementary, and I attended here for a few years as a young person. I've had a strong tie to this community as far as the surrounding peoples and families that have been here, but this was the beginning of my growth, and I definitely have a strong connection to this, to the school, even in this current iteration. This foundation has allowed me to grow into my person that I am today, with keeping those ties here within this community. I was able to take that on and actually become an architect in my professional career and move into a position working for a commercial developer here locally and up in Atlanta. That was a successful career, and I decided at that time that I was at a crossroads. I determined either I was going to continue in the field where I was the only person of color in that room and continuously wondering and having to beat down that drum and beat on that wall to try to be successful, or to move into education and try to break down some of the anxieties and some of the misnomers about what it was to be successful and who could be successful in those spaces. So I joined education specifically to help the students within this community, but all around, to make sure that they found that their voice was heard, respected, and their passions could be aligned to the things that they wanted to do in the future. I've been able to take that to a 20-year career as a teacher at Crawford, Lincoln, MTM Middle School, serving as an architecture and engineering teacher. Beyond that, I saw that my reach was limited and was able to move into high school levels as well and move into administration. I served as an assistant principal over at Lemon Grove Academy, and from there transitioned to work in Poway. I was in Poway for 10 years working as an assistant principal, and I was also as a principal at the Black Mountain Middle School. While there, I never ventured from my focus, from my center. It was always focusing on students who were marginalized, historically marginalized, voices were not heard or respected, and trying to find connections to the things that they would be passionate about and the things that they wanted to focus on in their future. I've now transitioned into a new role where I'm back here in San Diego Unified, and I'm working through college and career technical education, which was my center in the beginning for me. I want to bring all of that history, all of that passion, I want to bring all of those experience to serve on this board and be that voice that speaks not only for the people within this community, but also shows them the exposure to and access to the things that are out there beyond. So.
All right, thank you.
Next person, Maritza Maldonado.
Good evening, buenas tardes. My name is Maritza Maldonado, and I'm here. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this committee. And I'm very excited to be here and hopefully be part of the board, support families and be that voice.
Last the question. We have your information here, but tell us in your own words, why do you want to be, why do you want to serve on the board of America's Finest Charter School?
As a child, I attended many elementary schools. My family were migrant workers in the Kern County, Bakersfield area. We actually lived there for several years. My family actually then packed up everything. We went down to Mexico, lived down there for 4 months. came back to San Diego, ended up staying here in San Diego, in Southeast San Diego. I attended Central Elementary, Wilson Middle School, Hoover High, and I am an English learner. And through those experiences, I became a bilingual educator, teacher. My first experience in teaching has been at a charter school. So I worked at a charter school as a dual language teacher for 6 years. That experience really showed me that there's nothing like coming back home to your community. I worked in 3 different districts now, currently at Chula Vista. And after I left the charter school system, I became a TOSA teacher in special assignment, which gave me the opportunity to do or be a bilingual coordinator, and also an English language coordinator. I also became a reading specialist through that experience. And so I feel that I bring to this community that experience, the similar experience that I've had in my own upbringing, growing up in City Heights. And I say City Heights, but really it's also this area here. We would always go shopping at Famar and also at Hunan and Manolos. And so this is a community that I also grew up in, even though we didn't physically live here. My brothers currently still live in this community. And I really feel that I can bring that experience of having had a strong bilingual background, also strong EL background. And then again, since that's a theme I keep hearing, I think it's important to have that experience in this community, in this board member, to really showcase and you know, be that voice as well, to serve the community, especially our English language learners and our families.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll do the question after the motion.
Was this advertised? No, I was saying because we are board members, we should know that it was advertised because when I board member, it was advertised in office, it was advertised in, it was advertised in office, it was advertised on Square, it was advertised everywhere. I have not seen any advertisement. So how do we get to candidates with none of the community, other community members?
We didn't hear that, you said that. Oh, I didn't hear nothing you said.
I have a concern in regards to other candidates. It's not on you guys. It's because when I had to be a board member, it had to be advertised. It had to be in the front office. It had to be to face, you know, it just had to be done for publicly. I have not seen anything publicly myself because I went to the front office. I had to go through it. I had to go through my screening. It was advertised in Parent Square. It was advertised in the community. I have not seen this. I have not seen any advertisement. So we're supposed to get this and not have other candidates in the community that was running.
Good candidates. Now, to be able to address that concern.
Now we can hear. So before my time over here, I've been here 9 months and what have you, and it seems like the process is, you know, of recruiting board members, what have you, is not something similar or in alignment with your regular school board meetings. Like there's campaigning taking place, there's votes taking place in charter schools. I understand, right, it has its own unique features. What I do know, what I understand as the board recruitment here before me, executive directors, leadership, I do know that it was word of mouth as well as on the website that these positions are open for as a volunteer for the board members to come in. And what I do know, and I don't want to cite anything from information that I don't know about, board members over here right now have been elected through that way, and the board members here currently are the ones who have voted for the candidates and have voted the people in. And, you know, throughout the year, we had 2 candidates. One candidate, when I first started here, came to 2 board meetings, sat through 4 hours twice, because that person wanted to serve for this community, like volunteers like yourself, and ultimately was rejected. There was a board member that was, I just want to bring up the facts here. There was a board member candidate that was somewhat, I think by word of mouth from one of our membership, that was invited to come here, but that board candidate never came. There was a no-show. And so now moving forward, you know, with word of mouth as well as, you know, with our bylaws that states that we can have 5 board members on this school, 7 maximum. And so these 2 board candidates who are uniquely qualified, who has a story that's connected to this community and want to serve, are here and wanted to be able to be part of this journey to support our students. And so I think that's the best answer I can give. Moving forward, I think we need to work with council to really develop the process even tighter, in my opinion. We can always do better. But again, I'm barely finishing up my 1 year as leadership here. We need the opportunity to be given a chance and to be able to elevate our practices.
Thank you. But I'm just saying that it has to be transparent and everybody should have the equal opportunity to apply. So that being said.
Under the Brown Act, you can't change rules mid-process. I'd like, if you want, just like statute.
That's board questions. Yeah. It's a lot of things that are just being swept underneath the rug, because he's talking when it's a board's question.
Okay, so I'm gonna go forward with the motion, and we can go ahead and do the vote there, because the time for public comment was during public comment. Thank you very much. I am going to move forward and make a motion to approve the, let's see, the board member interviews and appointment. We have to approve or not in this case. I understand people have discussions, but the board is deliberating at this time. And so, one of the things I wanted to say is that, board memberships are not permanent. I'm letting the board know they're temporary, and they are staggered to a point where some will be ending and others will be elongated. So I'm not 100%. Yes, we do. So do we want to table this discussion? Do we want to table this discussion or move this to? Okay, all right.
Why aren't you answering the board member's question? She had a valid question and you didn't answer it.
It's okay. That's
It's not
Thank
okay.
you.
She didn't answer the board member's question.
Did you answer the question? Because I didn't have the
He
information.
said his opinion, not an answer to the question.
She at your board.
Can you restate the question, please?
Yeah, restate the question, Lynette.
No
I
transparency.
asked that there was no transparency. When you think about it, there was no transparency. It is from the Brown Act. You need to publicize for the whole community to be able to apply for membership. I know I am a volunteer. I have my time that's coming up next year, or even before, I don't know. But I am a parent, and I'm here for the students, I'm here for these teachers, I'm here for everybody. However, we are supposed to allow to put it in the media or in the front office, anywhere, to be open for everyone. I'm sorry, I'm done.
So regarding the conversation, we do have legal counsel here sitting in. Mr. Rahul Reddy is here from Procopio. Do you have any comment on the questions or in terms of legal alignment? If you can come up and kind of address the group.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the question that was raised was whether or not the board is able to pass the motions that are available to it, which is something that the board is able to do, as well as the questions that were raised by the other board members to table it or perhaps reject it. That is also available as well.
Okay, thank you. So you to vote on.
All right. All right, I want to go ahead and make a motion to table item 1. Let's open up the, I'm not the person that actually did anything, so I'm just here like the other board members, but so I'm speaking on the matter. And my motion is to table item 1 for our next board meeting and open up the candidacy for more board members. Okay, I make a motion to do that now. Is there a second? All right. Okay. All in favor? Keyshawn and Christopher, aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Great. Item 2. Approval of revised 2026-2027 instructional minutes.
All right, so approval of the revised 26-27 instructional minutes is what I want to talk about right now. It is a proposal. Reflects a change of school day start time from 8:10 a.m. To 8:10. Right now, it's the start time right now is 8:10 a.m. to 8 a.m. is what the proposal is, and change in dismissal time from 3:10 p.m. to 2:20 p.m. The revised instructional schedule is intended to provide additional time for teachers and paraeducators to support students through planning, collaboration, intervention, and our other educational responsibilities. And so the updated instructional minutes are designed to better support our students, families, and staff while continuing to meet and exceed California instructional minute requirements. Students will continue receiving all required instructional time and academic support. This instructional minute is centered on a shared goal: creating the strongest possible learning environment for AFCS students. The current schedule keeps students and staff on campus longer than many neighboring schools right now. As the day progresses, fatigue impacts focus, behavior, and overall wellness. A more balanced school days improves student engagement, strengthens school climate, and supports staff. Sustainability and retention. In addition, beginning the school day at 8 a.m. reduces the extended amount of time students currently wait outside the school gates in the morning, improving supervision, safety, and morning routines while helping students begin the day in a calmer and more structured environment. To better accommodate families' varying dismissal and childcare needs, AFCS is strengthening and expanding the after-school program so all students have access to a safe, supportive, and enriching environment beyond the school day. Students gain increased opportunities to participate in extracurricular activities, electives, enrichment, and academic support programs that keep them engaged and connected. This updated instructional minutes will also allow additional paraeducators to provide direct support within the after-school program, which will help with increasing supervision, student support, and success to enrichment opportunities for students and families. So overall, this updated instructional minutes is a strategic investment in student success, staff effectiveness, and family support, school safety, and expanded opportunities for the AFCS community. Thank you.
Great. The proper way to handle the instructional minutes is to make a motion, then have a discussion, then to vote. So at this time, I'll make a motion to approve the revised 2026-2027 instructional minutes. Is there a second? After.
But I don't want to make a motion on it. My question is not answered.
Okay, you second the motion, now discussion. All right, let's do discussion.
Okay, well, the instructional time, the time. Did the parents have any input on the time? Parents, I mean, in terms of time change, not minutes.
From what time to what time? Eight to 8 AM to 2:20. So the reason behind that is. Yeah, reason behind that.
Sorry. So reason behind that is so that we would have extended amount of time for intervention for our students with the after-school tutorial programs, after-school program with the extracurricular activities that we can support the students in, and also extend daycare for our students as well. And in the morning time, when we start early, a lot of the students we've noticed that have been dropping off kids a little bit early. It gives us a little bit of leeway time for our students to be less fatigued. We have unusually, because of the calendaring, the way it was done, to match with having with the high school and the TK to 8. The time has been longer extended for many of our students here, and we want to be able to strategically able to support students instructionally. And so we recognize the students, and we want to put more of that personal impact on our students through our tutorial program and other additional programs that's offered for the students is the reason.
Sounds like you want to leave early and do less work.
I'm gonna call for a recess for the board. I'm gonna call for a recess right now. Thank you. We'll have a recess 15 minutes.
So can you two come this way for a minute so we can talk to you? Because she said we can't talk to you since you're on recess.
It's free speech, you can talk to her.
No, she wanted to flex today, so I'm gonna let her flex.
Well, you have the
Since
floor.
they on recess, can we talk, can you guys get up from the board area so she don't think that we coming to approach you? Because you guys are on a 10-minute recess, 15-minute recess? I'm going to the restroom. Okay, I'm gonna follow you. I'll wait because I need to go outside. Because this don't make no sense. The board is not educated on what you're about to do. Yes. Oh, just so you know, you already, let me just tell you who you already gave it to. Dr. Lachey Sharp Collins' office. You've given it to your district attorney, Summer Stephen.
Each board member
And you
has
gave it
been
to
given a
Bobby
motion.
Over, the San Diego Unified, second largest school district, superintendent. So let's name drop together.
Yeah, I'll give you an order.
She said she.
It's not nice standing in front of everybody. You can hear each other.
I just need to know what it talks about. Sounds good. I'll make sure.
It's Hillary. The site came across, they have a question for you. Can you come to the
Waters. Yeah, yeah.
Nice meeting you, Steve, at this round.
Got a lot to cover before we go to close. Yeah, we did. Yeah. She needs help on that. Just say this. Just can't yell at me. See where we yeah.
Right, yeah, yes. All. Snaps.
Yeah.
Truly are. There should be a timer.
I need that. Oh, yeah. Okay. They threw me off because they were in my ear and I was trying. I'm like this. That was the, I believe, that was the plan.
Okay, we need to call the meeting to order. we start?
That was it. I just want to know.
We have to call the meeting to order now.
Operational errors. I can answer that question. When we operate in school. In a sense, I'll answer.
Right. We're back from recess, and the question was on the floor for Mr. Park. And the question was, excuse me, in the audience, we need to start our meeting in immediate order. Thank you very much. The question on the floor was for Mr. Park.
Well, he already answered.
I'll answer again. The question was there a community survey or anything like that to make any kind of changes to any of the decisions? I just want to point out that every time we do an operational decision in instructional minutes or curriculum design, professional development, teacher training programs, I have been hired as the executive director because of your trusting me to be able to operate on a daily basis with fidelity and do what's right for the kids. And so with that in mind, obviously, we look at the way we operate for our students and looking at the data. That happens to be the best time for our students' engagement and to be able to provide additional support for the students. Those are the strategic matters that had to make to be a decision that was made through our staff, as well as informal discussions that we have after our monthly community meetings that we have here, our monthly celebration of our students in our assemblies, and right after that, we normally have English Language Advisory Council, the DLAC Council, the parents are able to come over here and have coffee with me and to ask any questions that they may have. They have it often talked about, they have teachers, parents have often talked about how long the school days are. And we want to, those are the same type of concerns that we've been receiving throughout the year. And with that in mind, the strategic alignment of how we wanted to operate our school next year for the best impact for our students instructionally, we came to that decision as well. And we'll be sharing that throughout the week through our Parent Square, as well as we have the monthly assembly that's coming up to celebrate our students over here. It happens once a month on the Thursday. You're all welcome to come and attend, see our students sing, and be recognized for their character, as well as their attendance as well.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve the revised 2026-2027 instructional minutes. Can I have a second? Okay, that's what we were, and then there was discussion. Any further discussion from the board?
Yes.
Yes.
It says here it will be off at 20, so do you know that after-school programs do not qualify all the students for after-school program? It's not a question, I'm just saying that after-school program, because if you're doing this timeline for 220, not all students are approved for after-school program.
Well, we want to reiterate that the after-school program is welcome to everybody. There is no.
There is a qualification because it's a government grant.
And so we want to be able to offer it to all students and hire people that's necessary to support
And do you know that most people, I'm just saying, that most people do not, they have to pay extra childcare after 220? Are you looking for the community and parents? Are you thinking about their parents and students about that?
That's the discussion, that's the reason why I'm also getting feedback from the parents regarding. This.
So my daughter didn't even get it this year.
All right, what, is that a discussion? Is that a motion? Is that what you're doing? Okay. Okay. All right, so the
Can we
discussion.
get further?
I just leverage it, put it.
That's just.
Are you looking for information?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
More information about that all parents are gonna be able to do that time, because
That's the objective.
this is my opinion though. Just like it's your objective, it's my opinion.
All right, how soon can, I have a question, how soon do you think we can ask, pull the parents about the start time? Or about the instruction minutes? Okay,
So that would be what, 30 days, 20 days?
yes, all right. All right, let's table this item. Item 2, we are looking for more information from the board, and this is the process where we deliberate publicly. And our item number 2 will be tabled. Make a motion to table item 2. Can I have a second? All right, all in favor? And Keyshawn Christopher, aye. Next item, our monthly finance report.
Or you know my glasses ain't big. Man,
We can zoom in, we can zoom in on that. It's,
Come on, man.
hopefully the
Okay.
PDF here gives you,
Okay.
we'll go from there.
Okay.
Good evening, board, as always, I kind of like to start contextually where we are in the year as it relates to the budget. So at the last March meeting, we did a big second interim, sort of, hey, that's our sort of second reset of the year. Here we are for second interim. Thank you. So tonight, from that, like I said, so at the March meeting, we approved our second interim report. Tonight, we do not have a budget report to approve in sense of a deliverable. That next will be brought at the June meeting, which will be our 26-27 adopted budget. And I have some news on that in just a second. And then also what we'll do at that time too is bring back the revised 25-26 budget. And so I'll talk a little about kind of where we are in the budget process and how we close out the fiscal year, as well as go over our March actuals in just a minute. But one of the big things we have that just came out last week that is a big factor in how we project, and the assumption we use for next year's budget is the governor's May revise. So if you remember back, either January or February, the governor came out, either at the January or February meeting. In January, the governor comes out with the proposed budget, which is a lot of assumptions that, I think I said at the time, I'll talk about them because they talk about them, but, we don't take a lot of stock in those. But what we do take a lot of stock in is what's called the May revise. And this is sort of a second iteration of the proposed 26-27 budget from the governor. And so some of the key highlights, really good for charter schools, really good for AFCS. And so I'll talk about those and then how they're going to relate to our sort of budget process over the next couple of weeks. So they're projecting a COLA of 4.3. At the January preliminary budget, that was 2.4. So, almost a 2% jump on the COLA. What that results in is approximately $80,000 of additional LCFF revenue for AFCS based on our preliminary numbers, right? And again, just to rewind a second, at the next meeting, we'll come back with a full 26-27 breakdown of all the assumptions going into that. But based on the number of kids we have now, That COLA increase there could result in $80,000 of LCFF ADA-driven money. Another thing, a one-time discretionary block grant called the Student Support Professional Development Block Grant. And I know you board members remember, you say one-time, Corey, didn't we get that this year? We sure did. So it's now the two-time, one-time discretionary block grant. All jokes aside, what they're proposing there is almost $900 per this year's ADA. So that alone, our P2 ADA for 25-26 was $297. So approximately $270,000 of unrestricted. I should have an asterisk next to that. There's some funding sources that go along with that, but it is also a discretionary block grant. And so what we can do as a board, and we can make a recommendation to, hey, put it towards increasing health insurance costs, putting it towards STRS costs, putting it towards staff raises, right? So we do have, it is a block grant, but it is discretionary. Another really big item that came out of that was a special education funding base rate increase of going from approximately $950 to over $1,300 a kid. That's a huge issue that's, not only impacts AFCS, but, school districts and charter schools I work with all up and down the state. I haven't ran into a school that isn't deficit spending on SPED, and so this is a huge welcome increase. So that results in approximately, just under $150,000 of additional SPED revenue for AFCS for next year based on ADA projections. Two other things, again, I would call them footnotes, which is continuing full implementation of Universal TK and ELOP. Those are two programs, having a TK and an ELOP program that are continuing to be fully funded. We get additionally about $5,300 for every TK student we have on top of the base LCFF dollars. And then our ELOP program, right, that runs our after school for TK through 6. That's one of the governor's key initiatives over his last sort of 6 years term that is continuing to be funded with no projected cuts or changes there. Some reasons for caution. This is just proposed. This is the governor's proposal, and now sort of there's the legislative negotiating that goes on and forth between now and really they have until June 15th to approve their budget. We owe ours to San Diego Unified. I think it's June 22nd. So, it's kind of a dance on, do we have final figures from the state before we approve our budget? But we're going to go off a lot of these May revised assumptions because, more often than not, they'll hold pretty true. And if there is, big deviations, we'll adjust from there. One of the things in there too, mandated pregnancy disability, that was something the governor mandated for. I'm not commenting on if that should be offered or not, but hey, that could be a cost because right now in his May revise it said that for all employees. I think that's a great benefit for all employees. There would come with a cost for that. And then another thing on sort of these one-time fundings, the biggest source up there is our one-time discretionary block grant. Just a note, and again, one of the things I always caution against is using it for ongoing expenses, right? Hey, we have this one-time money and we hired Mr. Corey to do this. Well, what happens when that one-time money goes away? Does Mr. Corey need to go away, right? So one of the things, whenever we get one-time sort of tranches or buckets of funding, do we have one-time expenditures that match that, or could we use it to something, as I kind of alluded to earlier, like, hey, we have pension costs increasing, we have our health benefits increasing, right? Because, I think over the last couple of years, 10, 15%, hey, could we use that to sort of, hey, help pay down that continuing obligation, right? So when I say ongoing obligations, it's always tough to say, hey, we have this money, let's hire 1 or 2 people, because what happens when that money goes away, and we hate to sort of see our staff contract from there. So again, kind of tying this all together, like I said, we're currently, Mr. Park and Ms. Den and I are working through the, the budget for next year, working through all the assumptions. And again, this sort of piece that came out late last week is a huge part of the assumptions that go into it. And so kind of simultaneously what we're doing over the next, month before our June meeting is, hey, how do we close 25-26? We now have our P2 for this year. We kind of know as the school year is winding down where some of the pieces are going to fall. I'll touch on some of those expenditures in just a second, but it's always kind of a dance in terms of, hey, if we have some of these funding sources, do we want to, fire those bullets this year? Do we want to save them for next year, depending on where enrollment's coming in, depending on, what else is going on in there, right? And so I think for those who were on the board last June, I know that was my first meeting with you guys, but what I kind of did, and I'm joking when I say expect you to remember, of course, but I came back and like, hey, here's how we're going to close this year. Because remember, hey, June 30th, we closed 25-26. The next morning at,
12/01, we start the next fiscal year, right? So it's always kind of a continuous thread of like, hey, how we close next year, yeah, we kind of put a lid on it and move on, but it also does have big implications on, what funds we have available for next year, how does our reserve look like, what does our cash flow look like, and all that, right? So again, what I'll kind of do at that next meeting is the primary focus will be the 26-27 budget, but I'll also make some pretty, give a lot more detailed information on where we're going to close, because I have a pretty good idea now, but we'll have even better assumptions, and hey, some of the conversation that Mr. Parker and I are having, like, hey, this fund here, we want to, fire those bullets this year in terms of, spending that, or we want to keep it for next year and allocate it, with different programs and all the changes going on at AFCS. I'll pause there. Sorry, that was a lot of me talking. Any questions from the board on the May revise and kind of where we are in the budget process for this year and for next year?
Yes, so I have a question about, okay, let's see, we see the COLA is 4.31%. Details, but in looking at this, are you on this yet?
I haven't gotten there, but I can absolutely comment on that.
Okay, yes, we have questions about, I have a question about the blacked out items.
Sure.
And we'd like to know
Go
why
ahead, let's
that's-
go down. I think, yeah, absolutely. And so just, not that I need to say so, well, that was done on my own sort of, there was no one at AFCS that asked me to black those out. What those actually are manual payroll checks for individual employees who do not have direct deposit. And so for example, right there at the top, that is someone's individual payroll check that clears the bank, not in a big, sort of, one direct deposit. Hillary, if you scroll down just a little bit, I wanted to show sort of the counterexample. Scroll down just for me, right? Where is it? There it is, big number, 31026 payroll, 141,692. That's everybody that's on direct deposit. That all comes out, as one transaction out of our account. Individuals who are not set up for direct deposit, they get an individual manual check. And so the way that those come through the bank and through the system, it has their name on them. So I didn't think it was appropriate to have that up during a public meeting. That was my own professional discretion. If the board disagrees, I'm happy to unredact those and put those out there. Similar to kind of the next thing right there, sorry not to take your question, Mr. Shaw, is the health net bill is a total of $13,954. There's a cluster there of 8,400, which is unrestricted, and the individuals or the names that you see redacted there are the individuals we have going to those specific programs. We break it out in our system so we know, hey, I'll just pick on myself. Corey is the Prop 28 teacher, his cost that much, right? So there's a reason I did that on my own professional judgment. If the board would like to see nothing redacted moving forward, happy to do that. I just thought it wasn't appropriate to have those names. I'll defer to you guys.
Say that again, Reggie.
I said none of his personal names. No, we don't.
Yeah. And so.
Yes,
no, of course.
You know, I'm gonna keep you on your toes, right?
No, yeah, hey, please, I'm here to answer what I can. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna scroll back up, you could, Hillary, just on, just a couple things I wanted to touch on with our, keep going forward, please. And again, just so the board knows, this is the packet that goes to Sandy Unified for their request, so I'm not gonna go over every single page. I think, again, we kind of do the big dragged out session at the first interim or second interim. Right there is fine, Hillary. So what this sort of pages, I think it's 3 through 5, excuse me, or 3 through 6, is our budget versus actuals, right? So in that budget column, you're gonna see our second interim. And so that's the last board approved budget, which we had in our second interim was a projected deficit of 470,000 in the red. And that was based on what we submitted. You guys approved it, it's been the same, right? A couple things I wanted to just kind of highlight on as we get, we're kind of inching closer to the end of the year. First one there is our health and welfare benefits. The reason that one's highlighted is, hey, where we are in the year, we have a pretty good surplus on what we budget versus where our actuals are coming in at. And the reason for that is, hey, we're gonna budget on the conservative side for everybody to, each employee who is eligible for benefits, we're gonna budget the max amount that they would be eligible to get. And so as the year goes on, there's kind of a little built-in savings, right? Because, hey, I don't cost as much as, say, another employee, so we're able to kind of, recapture some savings as we get close to the year. Again, from a sort of a budgeting standpoint, I want to budget the most so we don't go over that. But that's a way to sort of capture some savings as we go towards the end of the year. So that's some good news as we kind of look at our actuals. A couple others I want to just highlight there. If you could scroll down for me, Hillary, on the next one. couple of things here. I had a question just about the educational consultants. That's just a SACS code, but what that actually kind of is just our catch-all. This is nothing about VMOs, just, hey, they make up the majority of that expenditure line, and that's just kind of where their expenditures fall. And remember, for us, they provide our comprehensive PE program, they run our after school, and they also do a lot of transportation and, summer intercession support. So I got a question from a past board member meeting about, hey, what's in that educational consultants line? The majority of that is our VMO services, which again, they do a lot for AFCS. So just wanted to provide some clarity there. And again, that 5815, is just the SACS code, sort of educational consultants object code. And then again, that's just where the majority of those expenditures fall. Two other things I wanted to kind of point out. And VMOs will come in right on budget with them. There's nothing overtly over or anything like that. The other two, though, unfortunately, we kind of talked about legal fees, right? That's been sort of a budget creep this year. And as much as I like Procopio, I don't like paying their invoices. I say that in jest, of course, but that's one of the things, like, hey, as a board, as we get closer, right? We've spent 180,000 so far with a budget amount of 225. So, hey, as we look over the next, 2 months of the fiscal year, could we come in under that? I hope so, but we might not. And so that might be just something that we creep up on as the year gets on. And then the other one, and again, this is not any comment on the special ed services provided, but that line item there, we've seen a big increase in the back half of the year. A lot of that is with just some additional services that we use. So again, this line item here, 5879, this is for contracted SPED services. So we have our own on-staff, SPED team, with, teachers and that team, the aides that support our SPED team, but that line item right there is for outside SPED services. So when we have third-party vendors come on and provide things like occupational therapy, speech therapy, maybe physical therapy, maybe audiology, or sort of deaf or hearing services. And so I highlighted that one because as we get towards the end of the year, I think we might go over that budget item. And again, what that is, hey, that's just what we set second in on. And again, there's a lot of things on here, and not to make it very generic statement, we're gonna go over on a handful of these, we're gonna come under on a handful of things. And so that's kind of when I was sort of, preluding earlier to at that next June board meeting, I'm going to give a big update, and we'll probably go over a lot of these one by one. But I kind of just wanted to point out the three in terms of, I think we're going to have some health insurance savings, and I think we might go over on our legal and potentially our special ed services. And so those are the three just kind of bigger ticket items I wanted to point out to the board as we inch closer and closer to the end of the year. So the rest of this packet that goes to San Diego, I'm happy to answer any questions that are in this packet. If not, I'll take any questions.
Questions?
I'll ask for the Shirley property. We still have to pay there to San Diego. We got money for that.
Yeah, so that lease agreement will go through the end of the fiscal year. And so, we have, I guess, at this point, one more month of obligation, based on the current lease, right? And then, we're kind of in a situation where, because again, that's a separate entity, right? And so the LLC has enough reserve to pay down, I believe it's 4 months of mortgage. And so again, kind of, I'll fast forward a little, right? Hey, when we talk about next year's budget, I'm not gonna have $1 of rent over there, right? So they're gonna be on their own, right? So that's kind of what it is. So as we wind down this year, we're gonna, the school's gonna pay our lease for, at this point, just June, and then, that sort of cuts itself off.
So
that'd
we
be
pay
one.
nothing during the summer?
No.
Okay.
Right, so then again, that'll be, hey, you still one of my main talking points for next meeting, so.
Right.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. This is informational, only, right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria.
I'll have a lot next time, so.
All right, thank you.
We don't.
Item number 4,
You can
approval,
flash lights at any time.
approval of. Thank you, Corey, and thank you for helping us with those redactions and clearing that up. Right, item number 4, approval of
25-26 LCAP and local indicators draft.
So LCAP, for those of you in attendance who may not know, the acronym for that is Local Control and Accountability Plan. The local indicator, it's a draft report. The LCAP is the school's annual strategic plan that outlines goals, actions, services, and expenditures aligned to the state priorities under the local control for funding formula. It is a mandatory 3-year, annually updated roadmap that details how schools district will spend their state funding, specifically targeting equity gaps and support for EL, low-income students, and foster youth. Right now, this is the 3rd year of the LCAP goals, and we will be able to update the goals next year. But right now, we are fostering the 3rd year of LCAP objectives or the goals that was set from the previous administration. I just wanted to point that out. This is a long document. It's a draft, and we need to get this approved in June as well. So I just want to go over briefly each LCAP goals, because I'll try to be as fast as possible, but it's pretty comprehensive, okay? America's Finest Charter Schools serve approximately 350 to 400 students in TK to 12, including 46.1% English learners, 17.2% students with disabilities, and 98% socioeconomically disadvantaged students. The draft plan is intended to respond to the instructional, social, emotional, and engagement needs of these student groups. The draft LCAP reflects analysis of 2025 dashboard and local data showing continued needs in English language arts, mathematics, graduation outcomes, chronic absenteeism, and teacher credentialing. The plan also notes positive progress in English learner progress indicators and decline in suspension rate, while recognizing that student achievement gaps remain significant for English learners, students with disabilities, Hispanic students, and socioeconomically disadvantaged students. The draft includes 3 board goals, which was set by the previous administration. Goal 1 focuses on basic conditions for learning, including access to qualified teachers and staff, standards-aligned curriculum, well-maintained facilities, and broad course access. Goal number 2 focuses on academic growth in ELA, math, and sciences, as well as college and career readiness. Planned actions include Tier 1, 2, and 3 intervention, science enrichment, designated and integrated ELD instruction, EL and LTAL supports for credit recovery, career tech education pathways, dual enrollment, and college and career guidance. Goal 3 focuses on family engagement, student connectedness, absenteeism, and school climate. Planned actions include engagement protocols, staff professional development, and social emotional learning, and PBIS, and supports intended to increase attendance and strengthen students' safety and belonging. The LCAP was informed by educational partner engagement throughout the year, including staff meetings, staff surveys, and DLAC meetings, parent surveys, student surveys, board updates, a mid-year progress report, and a public hearing in May. The draft notes that parents and staff feedback supported the continued investment in academic intervention and stronger family engagement opportunities after school and on weekends. 26-27, local performance indicators self-reflection is also for board review and consideration. The local indicator measures progress in state priorities areas, including basic services, implementation of state standards, parent and family engagement, school climate, and access to a broad course of study. The local indicators are required to be reported to the governing board as a non-consent item at the same public meeting at which the LCAP is adopted. The results are also reported publicly through the California School Dashboard using the State Board of Education's approved self-reflection tools. Under priority 1, the report indicates that AFC has had 24 teaching FTE with 24 clear teachers reported in self-reflection. 0 students without access to standards-aligned instructional materials, and 0 identified instances in which the facilities did not meet the good repair standard. Under priority 2, the report shows strong progress in implementation of state standards. AFCS has rated itself at level 5 in ELA, ELD, math, physical education, visual and performing arts, and world languages in several implementation categories. And level 4 in areas such as NGSS, history, social sciences, career, technical education, and health education. The school also reported high levels of support for identifying professional learning needs and supporting teachers in standards implementation. Under priority 3, the family engagement self-reflection shows rating of 4 across most relationship building and partnership practices, a rating of 5 in helping families understand and exercise their legal rights, and a rating of 5 in providing opportunities for families to give input on policy in the program. The school cites its open door policy, English language acquisition, English language on parent meetings and annual LCAP survey, multilingual newsletters, translations and interpretation services, parent square, and volunteer opportunities as strength. The report also identifies areas for improvement in family engagement, including stronger outreach to other underrepresented groups, increased staff training on cultural responsiveness, more parent workshops, and additional efforts to determine preferred meeting times and communication methods for families. Under priority 6, the school climate section reports that 80% of the students said they feel safe at school, and 60% said they feel connected to others at school. Disaggregated data shows lower results for some students group, including students with disabilities, English learners, and African American students. And the participation rate of the survey was 50% of the students in grade 4 to 12. In response to school climate findings, the school plans to strengthen PBIS and MTSS restorative practices. Advisory time at the TK to 8 site, morning and closing circles, and restorative conversations with staffing aligned to support these priorities. Under priority 7, the report states that AFCS uses iReady and the master schedule to monitor course access. The school reports that all students in grade TK to 12 have access to a broad course of study, including standards-aligned curriculum, supports for English learners, accommodations and modifications students with a disability, and a UC A to G approved coursework for high school students. And that is my overall report for the LCAP and local indicator draft for you to be able to review and see, to move forward in June.
And this is an information one.
Right.
Thank you. Item 5, approval of revised 2026-2027 salary schedule.
Thank you for the approval of the revised salary schedule for 26-27. And Corey is still with us. He'll be able to provide additional support. The revised schedule updates compensation for certificated staff, administrative and leadership positions, and classified employees for 26-27 school year. This revised salary schedule includes an increase in the certificated teacher and intervention specialist contract year from 187 to 188 days. It also updates salary placement across the step and column schedule and increases extra duties paid from $40 per hour to $45 per hour. The revised schedule also reflects an increase in the work year for administrative position from 220 days, which is 11 months, to 245 days, which is 12 months. Days to support school operations, planning, recruitment, compliance, and year-round administrative responsibilities. In addition, the revised schedule updates the compensation table for administrative/confidential staff, dean/director/lead/coordinator positions, and classified salary and hourly positions. The schedule continues to include existing stipends and incentives, including master's degree stipend of $750, a doctorate stipend of $1,500, and longevity bonuses of $2,000 at 10 years and $3,000 at 15 years. These revisions are intended to support employees' recruitment and retention, as stated by a couple of our teachers today during our public session, and reflect the increased number of workdays for certain positions, respond to the rising cost of living affecting employees. They need to make a living wage, folks, and ensure that the school compensation structure continue to meet applicable state requirements and reporting obligations. And the compensation updates are also intended to help the school maintain a competitive salary structure that supports operational stability, retention for our teachers, recruit the best teachers, and for teachers to have the enthusiasm and their zeal in wanting to stay at America's finest charter school. We have looked at the COLA in addition to being competitive with San Diego Unified School District and other districts, so that the teachers are well compensated and would want to stay over here and worth coming to AFCS to invest in their time, because they give everything to the students. So that is the rationale for the revision in the salary schedule. Thank you.
That is for both.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 salary schedule. Is there a second? All right, any discussion, questions from the board?
I have some questions in regards to what is this year rate? So are this the rates from, like he was talking a couple times prior on our agenda in regards to that if someone has a 5-year tenure that they can come and bring it to the school. So would that put them in a different bracket?
Not sure what you're referring to. You mean a different scale?
Yes.
The years that they bring? We take up to 7 years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
7 years experience, we put that into the salary consideration on the table, step 7.
So they would start at the 7-year mark?
Correct. If they had 8, 9, 10, 15 years, we would only honor it up to 7. That is the structure that's always been. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't use the mic. Yes, 7 years would be the limit of the numbers that we honor at AFCS, and this is before my time. We continue to do so. We haven't, as a board, voted to approve any other steps.
We need to see where is most of these people at, well, I'm not gonna say people, I'm gonna say professionals at this time to find out for the budget. Because again, we're not gonna have the high school again. And we're having this here, we're gonna be TK through 8. So we need to find out how many people have the 2-year, like, been here for the year. Or are you just gonna up them every year? What is your plan?
I am asking for some clarification. I'm not quite understanding what you're trying to ask.
Okay, so if someone comes in with no credentials or anything, we're gonna start them at the base rate of $60.
First of all, they need to be credentialed to be coming to this school. They need to have a multi-subject credential or a single subject credential in content they will be teaching in the middle school level, or a multiple subject credential, no matter what. And so with that, first year teacher coming in, they'll be put on the first step. Now, if they're coming in with a master's degree or what have you, they will be provided a stipend, as I discussed But if you're first year coming in, you'll get first year salary and the first step. If you come in with a 15-year experience coming in here with a clear multiple subject credential with a master's degree or even a doctorate's degree, you'll be compensated for those 2 additional accomplishments, as well as we cannot provide 15-year credit, but we will provide up to 7 years as a starting point.
I have the question about the days. Everybody else is 220. You have executive director, assistant, principal at 245 days. Why? What do you net that now?
220 day equates 11 months. And if we were to count 11 months, I started in July 11th of last year. That means that my end of the year would be next week. And so that would be impossible to operate a school. As you guys all know, that the executive director and the cabinet under me to operate a school and continue and to reflect next year, we need to be a 12-month employee. And that clearly connects 245 days, which is a 12 months employee.
Thank you for the clarification. All right. At this time, if there are no other questions or comments from the board, we'll take a vote. All in favor of the 2026-2027 salary schedule, say aye.
Students gave us, I abstain.
Kishana Christopher, aye. All right, we'll move on. For clarification, what were the items you're looking to, you're looking for on that? Okay.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask the board also, is this the first time you've seen this document? Because I thought it was in our, packet. Okay.
No. I got it.
Okay, thank you. Next item is our consent agenda. Okay. Notice to the public. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board in one action. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board votes on motion, unless members of the board, staff, or public requests specific items to be discussed and removed from the consent calendar. All right, at this time, I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda. And a second. Michelle Christopher Ryan. Right. Thank you. Closed session. We have two closed session speakers, I believe, is Susanna. I'm sorry, Susanna Montilaro. Yeah, it's just closed session. All right, and Princess. Last speaker.
I'm a sophomore in this community. I'm here to talk about the closed session items. I want to express that I've experienced the leadership and respect for the law that the current board president has. For example, when my elementary school hosted Colonial Day and treated students of color unfairly, she was a top advocate. And where were you when at Cabot Charter School, she had to call the cops on a teacher who was trying to groom me with inappropriate behavior? And where were you when she combated racism at Kip Adelante Preparatory Academy? And where were you when she helped special needs students at Porter receive the special services that they were legally entitled to? And where were you when she ensured that the Jim Crow relic, a no colored allowed sign, was taken down after being posted in the classroom for 17 years? And where were you when she walked the 55-page document to the DA's office outlining corruption at America's Finest Charter School? And where were you when she was left to run the school when the last president walked away? If you weren't there, why are you coming to complain now? My mother is Kishonna Christopher. Her advocacy helps all students. If yours doesn't, as a student leader, I'm asking, why are you here? I would also like to point out that my mother has only been the board president for not a long time. And based off of the evidence at home, she most definitely cares about this school and everyone in this community. I get it, you all are frustrated, but things will get better and you all are definitely being heard. Change takes time and it doesn't happen overnight. I'm 16 years old. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We are adjourning to closed session.
Okay, go ahead.